said Todd Cosner. In this video, we'll discuss the story that happened in England. On Sunday, November 14, 2021, surveillance cameras captured 34-year-old Alexandra Morgan at a gas station near Cranbrook, Kent. No one has seen her since. 4 days later, her parents reported her disappearance to the police. The investigation revealed many secrets that someone hoped no one would ever discover. The truth turned out to be much more frightening than anyone could have imagined. Known to her friends and family as Alex, Alexandra Morgan was a single mother of 2 children, who were 4 and 11 years old at the time. They lived in Wilsley Pound, Cranbrook, Kent. She did not maintain relationships with the fathers of her children. It was certainly not easy for her to raise them alone. According to some sources, Alexandra worked as a dog groomer. People described her as an energetic and ambitious woman who wanted her children to have everything they needed. She wanted a better life for them and took several steps to achieve this. On November 13, 2021, Alexandra arranged a meeting with her parents. She left her 2 children with them, saying she was going on a spa vacation with friends. She told them she would be back in 3 days. On November 17th, Alexandra's parents became concerned after she didn't pick up her children. She didn't answer any calls or texts. It wasn't like her. After several unsuccessful attempts to find out where their daughter had disappeared, the parents had to contact the police. Kent police said there was something strange about Alexandra Morgan's disappearance, so they treated it as a potential crime. At the beginning of the investigation, the police tried to find out which spa Alexandra planned to go to. She told her parents she was going there with friends, and the police wanted to know who those friends were. At that time, the investigators could not even think what they would have to face while searching for Alexandra. The police obtained footage from a gas station in Cranbrook, trying to locate the woman. It was the last place people saw her. Her white Mini Cooper was the key to establishing her whereabouts. On the morning of November 14th, she refueled her car, bought some goods, and left. At first glance, there's nothing unusual in this video. The gas station manager, Rose McCauley, who has been on friendly terms with Alexandra for 17 years, was there when she bought 10 pounds worth of gas and ordered a coffee and a snack on the morning of her disappearance. Rose said, "I don't think anybody knows what's happened to her or where she's gone. For her car not to be seen at all since then is a complete mystery. A friend and I went around Hastings looking for it but didn't find anything. Alex never gets embarrassed, so I don't think it's a case of her being afraid to come home. I just hope nothing bad has happened to her. I just hope she's okay and turns up. It's really worrying." Alex was really dolled up with a full face of makeup, her hair done, and wearing nice clothes when she came in that Sunday, looking very well presented. She was more done up than I've ever seen her before. And she came in very early in the morning, which was unlike her. Alex seemed in a good mood and was smiling. Interviewing Alexandra's friends, the detectives learned that in 2018, she posted information on her social networks about a stalker following her every move. In another post from 2019, she shared an image with the words, "Hi stalker." Alexandra wrote, "Stop stalking my page, lovelies. It's quite sad. Not only that, but you making it more obvious by the day, seeing as we are not even friends on Facebook. Nothing to see here, pal, unless I want you to. If you carry on, I'll post your antics for all to see. Have a lovely day." Now investigators were trying to discover if these messages had anything to do with her disappearance. A police spokesman said, "It is completely out of character for Alexandra not to contact her family, and we are now treating this case as a potential murder. While we continue our investigation, I would urge anyone who may have seen Alexandra or her white Mini Cooper with a black roof to contact us. If you think you may have seen Alexandra or something suspicious but are not sure, please do not hesitate to call and let us know." They described Alexandra as a woman around 5 feet 6 inches tall, with a slim build and brown shoulder-length hair. She was wearing a green knee-length quilted coat, a black top, ripped blue jeans, knee-high black boots, and a silver necklace when last seen. Sometimes people disappear without leaving any traces or clues helpful to the police. Many missing person cases remain unsolved, but this time, everything was different. Alexandra Morgan left a digital footprint that eventually allowed the police to find out what happened to her. Moreover, it revealed some shocking secrets. Alexandra wanted to improve her financial situation. Trying to do this, she started working as an escort, advertising her services on the internet. However, her family and friends didn't know about it. Women working as escorts are among the most vulnerable category of people. It's no secret to anyone, including the police. They never know who will be their next client. An ordinary person who, for some reason, decided to pay for such services, or a maniac looking for a victim. The investigators discovered that Alexandra arranged a meeting with her regular client before her disappearance. They arrested this man. At the same time, the statement made by the police representative made it clear that Alexandra was, unfortunately, no longer alive. A spokesperson for Kent Police said, "Detectives from the Kent and Essex Serious Crime Directorate investigating the disappearance of a woman from Sissinghurst have arrested a man. On Thursday, November 25, 2021, a 40-year-old man from St. Leonards-on-Sea was arrested on suspicion of murder. Kent police officers, with support from Sussex Police, are carrying out searches in 3 locations in the Hastings and St. Leonards-on-Sea area as part of their work to locate Alexandra. Residents can expect to see a heightened police presence in the area as inquiries continue." The man they arrested was Mark Brown. He was a construction worker, was married, and had a son. His family did not suspect that he was leading a double life. Before her disappearance, Alexandra had met with him several times. According to Sussex Police, he once bought her a Mini Cooper. Their first meeting was on June 8, 2021, after Brown saw her on an adult website. It was at her home in Sissinghurst, near Cranbrook, Kent. Everything went well that time, and they continued to see each other occasionally. On June 21st, almost 2 weeks later, they met for the second time. However, now Alexandra went to Littlebridge Farm, near Hastings, Kent, which Brown rented for meetings with women and other purposes. During August and September, they met 7 more times, and Alexandra did not suspect that she was falling more and more into a trap. On October 23, 2021, Brown sent her a text message asking if she would be interested in a risk-free business transaction he was offering. The proposal referred to £100,000, 3-5 days at a hotel he would be guarding, a new ID, a straight car, and shopping money. All he needed her to do was go out for a cigarette, bag up cash, and buy some things. Testament to her character, online searches made by Alexandra after this proposal showed that she was keen to better the lives of her children. One of these searches was minimum deposit for a house 2021. A selection of other searches showed Alexandra's intention to form new businesses with the money she would make. Among the internet searches made were, "How much can you earn running a sunbed shop UK?" and "How much tax would I pay on 100,000?" When Alexandra told her parents about going to the spa with her friends, she was actually planning to meet Mark Brown at the farm. She left the house on November 14th, and CCTV footage captured her buying gas in Cranbrook at 7:20 a.m. She arrived at Littlebridge Farm around 8 a.m. 3 days later, on November 17th, Brown moved Alexandra's car to Holmhurst Lane, St. Leonards, having previously switched her license plate with a fake one. On November 18th, Alexandra's mother went to the police after her daughter did not pick up the children and stopped answering calls and texts. On November 23rd, the police found CCTV footage showing Alexandra's car following Brown's Jaguar on the road to Littlebridge Farm. Kent Police blocked access to the farm and started asking Brown questions. He admitted that he had met with Alexandra. However, he said she left after 45 minutes. He said the police could take his fingerprints and a DNA sample. 2 days later, on November 25th, they arrested Brown as the main suspect in the Alexandra Morgan case. But before we continue, and before I tell you what happened to her, we need to go back to when Alexandra didn't know Mark Brown yet. Leah Ware was 33 years old, mother of 3. However, she did not have custody of her children. Leah was an animal lover devoted to her horse, 3 goats, and 2 dogs, a mastiff called Duke and a Pomeranian named Lady. Leah had come to know Mark Brown on March 25, 2018, when he reached out to her on an escort website where she advertised her services. It was the same website where Brown would meet Alexandra Morgan a few years later. By the end of 2018, Brown and Ware had started dating and renting an apartment together. When the lease expired 6 months later, she moved into Brown's yard at Littlebridge Farm, where she lived in a shipping container. Brown described their relationship as a roller coaster. As it became known, Leah led a chaotic lifestyle. She was a benefit claimant and received weekly payments into her account, which were often withdrawn for her by Brown. She did have a history of illegal substance use and mental health illness. Yet many people said she was working hard to get custody of her children. When describing her daughter, Leah's mom said, "She was an angel, really." She added that though Leah was never fond of school, she had always preferred her animals. Brown and Ware's relationship lasted 3 years before she disappeared without a trace in May 2021. Leah spent the evening of May 5th and the early hours of May 6th with a friend and convicted dealer of illegal substances, Jack Tyler. They took those substances together. That evening, there was an intimate relationship between them. It was the last time anyone saw Leah. The last outgoing call made from her phone was on May 7th at 8:55 a.m. The police believed that she died on that day. 2 weeks later, Mark Brown returned to the website where he met Leah. On June 8, 2021, a month after she disappeared without a trace, Alexandra met Brown for the first time at her home. Their meeting went well. She saw Brown as a reasonable and generous man, but Alexandra had no idea that just a month ago, another woman who was in a relationship with Brown disappeared without a trace. During the investigation, the detectives found very revealing messages sent by Brown. He wrote them to his high school girlfriend 5 days after he met Alexandra Morgan. However, these messages were not about Alexandra. They were about Leah Ware. Here's what they said. "I'm going to be very careful how I word this. It happened again, not very long ago when disposing of something. It's a very unpleasant thing to do. An old oil drum, 5 liters of diesel, and hey presto, there's not very much left. It gets hot, very hot, it glows almost white. The things I have done weigh heavily on my heart, on my head, and my soul. A psychopath with a conscience. It's a joke, really." Thus, investigators started suspecting that Alexandra Morgan was dead, and more frighteningly, that she was not the only victim of Mark Brown. A spokesperson for Sussex Police Major Crime Team said, "Despite extensive investigations, we have not found Leah or her body and are appealing for the help of the public to try to locate her or anything connected with her disappearance." After Brown's arrest on November 25, 2021, the police searched his farm. There, they found a barrel inside which someone had recently burned something. Examining its contents, experts found the remains of bones and teeth. Laboratory examination left no doubt that these were the remains of Alexandra Morgan. In a joint statement, Neil Kimber of Kent Police and Andy Wolstenholme from Sussex Police said, "Our thoughts are with the families of both Alexandra and Leah at this difficult time. Whilst we have located the remains of Alexandra, we have yet to find Leah, and our investigations remain ongoing. We are appealing for anyone with information regarding either Leah or Alexandra to contact us urgently." Police described Leah as a 5 feet 6 in tall white female of slim build with very long black hair and blue eyes. They said she possibly had tattoos of a dragon on her right leg, Chinese writing on her right hip, and a fairy sitting on a flower over the name Ryan on her right leg. The search at Brown's farm lasted about a month, ending on January 7, 2022. In the pond, the police found the bones of a Pomeranian with some weight tied to a collar. Investigators believed it was Leah's dog, which Brown so cruelly got rid of following the death of Leah herself. Although police were unable to find Leah Ware's remains, they still charged Brown with taking her life on February 1, 2022. Earlier, they charged him with taking the life of Alexandra Morgan. During the interrogation, Brown denied the charges against him. However, when they informed him of the evidence indicating that he had disposed of Alexandra Morgan's body by fire, he admitted her death. Yet, Brown was adamant that Alexandra had died as a result of an accident. The trial of Mark Brown began on October 17, 2022. New details of these 2 cases became known during the court sessions. The jury learned that Brown regularly withdrew money from Leah Ware's bank account after her disappearance. After Leah's disappearance on May 7, 2021, Brown collected her prescription medication and withdrew money at a cash point using her new bank card every week. They delivered the card to the address of his sister Cheryl. He would then leave the cash and medication in a horse box belonging to their pet, Birdie. Prosecution lawyer Duncan Atkinson detailed a number of times in the weeks after Leah Ware's disappearance when Brown took £200 from her account, the maximum allowed in a transaction. This led to Leah's balance falling from more than £2,000 to £45, jurors were told. In July 2021, Brown twice withdrew £200 from Leah Ware's account. Shortly after, he transferred £200 to his account. When asked why he did this, he said, "I probably used her £200, then replaced it. At that time, someone owed me £430, so they probably paid me back." Atkinson said, The reality is the withdrawals of money from Leah Ware's account had nothing to do with her and everything to do with you. Is it a coincidence she died after her new bank card arrived?" Brown replied, "I don't know what you're getting at because as far as I'm aware, she's not dead." Atkinson asked, "You were running off Ms. Ware's money, weren't you? You knew Leah was somewhere where money wasn't going to help her." Brown replied, "I don't know what planet you're living on." Leah wanted Brown to leave his wife for her. One of her friends said this during testimony at the trial. Perhaps it played some role in Brown's decision to commit this crime. During the trial related to Alexandra Morgan's death, Brown reiterated that her death was an accident. He claimed that Alexandra slipped and fell on some tool, hitting her head, in the workshop he rented at Little Bridge Farm. He said he ran over to her and saw there was a lot of blood. Therefore, he got a towel to try to stop the bleeding from her head. When he moved her head to place the towel under it, there was even more blood. Prosecution lawyer Duncan Atkinson objected, saying, "When you first saw she's gone to the ground on her back, there's already a lot of blood around her head, so it's clear before you do anything else that she's hurt and needs help and needs a doctor. That's absolutely obvious." Brown replied, "Yes, but I was panicked and the first thing I did was grab a towel to stop the bleeding. At that point, she was gone, and it was my priority to try and do CPR because I couldn't find a pulse. I didn't call an ambulance because my priority was to try and stop the bleeding and then to get a pulse. There's no point calling an ambulance if it's not going to get there on time. Your priority is to stop the bleeding." After attempting CPR and holding a mirror to Alexandra Morgan's mouth and nose to check for breath, Brown said he was sure she had died. In the 5 minutes or so after that, he used jumpers to stop blood flowing out from under the workshop door, went outside to vomit, and retrieved his mobile phone from either his car or jacket pocket to call the emergency services. He then decided to cover the whole thing up, saying, "I wrapped Alex in a sleeping bag and put a towel around her head to stop more blood coming out. I had a dead escort on my workshop floor. What would it look like? How would I prove she had an accident? It was a stupid thing to do. It was the worst mistake I ever made in my life." Brown then decided to dispose of Alexandra's body using an incinerator he had fashioned out of an old oil drum earlier that year and used regularly to burn waste. He said, "I'd heard urban legends about people burning bodies, and I didn't want anyone to come across a body dumped somewhere." Thus, Brown claimed that he had nothing to do with the disappearance of Leah Ware and believed that she was alive, and Alexandra's death was allegedly an accident. However, during the trial, the court heard the testimony of Brown's boss, Alan Downs. The man said Brown warned him that the police might come for him and arrest him. This conversation took place on November 24th. When Downs asked what the police might arrest him for, Brown replied, "For a double murder." And this was a crucial point. With this answer, Brown indirectly admitted that Leah Ware was dead and that Alexandra Morgan did not die as a result of an accident. However, Brown denied saying such words. He said, "No, I said I'm going away for 25 to life. I don't know where he got double from. I said I would be arrested for one murder. I didn't say double." Atkinson said, "When asked, 'Who have you killed?' the answer should have been no one." Brown replied, "It should have been, yes, but that's not what I thought was going to happen. I can't prove I didn't kill Alex and I didn't think anyone would believe me. That's why I did what I did." They were both mums, daughters, and much more to their family and friends, and both lost their lives in the cruelest of circumstances. Both fell into the trap of an evil maniac. They left behind children and devastated families. Throughout the murder trial at Hove Crown Court, jurors learned about the lives of both Leah Ware and Alex Morgan, from their upbringings to their children and relationships, their work, and their passions. Jurors also heard attempts from Brown to, as the prosecutor once put it, blacken their names, painting a false picture of the women. The memories of Leah Ware and Alex Morgan smiling and enjoying life should be what people remember about them. Both deserve to remain in the memories of their loved ones for their numerous qualities. On December 1st, 2022, a jury of 10 men and 2 women found 41-year-old Brown guilty on all counts. Judge Nicholas Hilliard said, "This is clearly a case of the utmost gravity, and the effect on the victims' families must be absolutely devastating." He said the court would sentence Brown to life in prison, and he would have to decide the minimum prison term, or indeed consider if he will ever be released for parole license. The judge also said that if Brown decided to tell what he had done with Leah Ware's body, he would take it into account during sentencing. However, Brown did not take this chance. Before the judge passed down his sentence, the court heard a victim impact statement from Leah Ware's mother, Rebecca Martin. She said, "Brown continues to extend his sadistic torture of our family's life by not telling us what happened to her. She lost her life because Mark Brown wanted to gratify his depraved desires. He controlled and manipulated every aspect of her life, and then when he had had enough, he discarded her like a piece of dirt." The court also heard from Alex Morgan's parents, who said, "She was bright and energetic, with a determination to succeed. She had challenges, but she was overcoming them and had hopes for her future with her 2 children who she adored." On January 13, 2023, the court sentenced Mark Brown to 2 life sentences. He will be able to apply for parole in 49 years. Judge Hilliard, who sentenced Brown in his absence after he refused to come to the court, said, "No sentence I pass is any measure of the lives lost. Nothing can put right what the defendant has done. That is not possible. His conscience is untroubled by what he has done.